and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am. Hello there, beloved Ascension pioneers, and welcome to this love video here today with me. I wanted today to be a little different offering than you're probably used to getting from me. As you know, we always do different things as we're guided. And as I was driving here to these beautiful lakes, as you can see, they're a little bit frozen still, but this magical place, this magical portal place, which you can feel through my heart of loving this place and sending that love out. You can feel the aliveness of this place, not just as in physical beautiful location, but as a sacred portal here within the White Retreat in the Alps, located in this magical spot. So I want you to tune into that frequency before starting to listen to my words. As you know, over the years I've shared a lot of my video content and my writing content through the word, the gift of word. But today I wanted to offer a little bit of different transmission for you to feel into that love, which is the love that's limitless, the love that is unbound, the love of creation that's not restricted to a certain feeling, to a certain person, to a certain idea that we have. Because our ideas, they're born and then they die, and then they die when they actually become something within the living reality. And that's the true nature of love. It knows no finality to it. You know, even with projects that we do, when I do certain things, they always feel incomplete, because in truth they're never complete. They're always expanding to an even greater version of that idea that became a project, that became a sharing, that became a product of love. And because we're always expanding, that starts to expand more and more. So as you know, a lot of souls that are born into this earth plane, they're already imprinted with the idea of death. So when they start growing up, when they start maturing from the phase of being an infant and a newborn, they already start the death program. But those of us who are here as the new kids, the new children, the new pioneers of this dawning age, we're here showing the way, what it means to be an ever-expanding being. So when you're born, you're not starting to age and die already at your birth, but you're just starting to expand and expand, ever growing. So I wanted to bring you this offering of the love that's really pure, the love that is so crystalline, the love that knows no certain framework to it, because that's the love that you are, that I am, that we all are. So I'm going to take a moment here to meditate in the space, and then we'll start with today's message and a gift, a blessing, an offering of spirit. So I'm actually recording this beautiful video on the International Women's Day. And a very strong message that came through the ethers and all that is the vastness of the beauty of life in creation was that a lot of us are still fighting for our rights, for our equal amount of worth and value in this world. But we're not going to get anywhere like this, because this is still based on the idea of separation. So because we're not the same value, same worth, same equality, we therefore need to constantly recreate that instead of just being like that, living like this, even if for a while, because your external surroundings does not respond to the nature of your awareness that you possess already. You still hold that within you, and you maintain it perhaps only within you until you're evolved enough, you're mature enough to be ready to be more empowered with that awareness and with that embodiment also in the external world. So the idea that I got recently as well, what sort of came into my awareness, because I was thinking of how many of us who are these new kids, which are the beings who are already free spirits. We don't belong to anything or anyone, only to ourselves, our own sovereign presence, and the beauty of life in creation. And we move with the current of life of where it wants to move us next, where we want to be expanded into next. What part of reality we're guided to expand, which people we want to move with, you know, with our sharing at this present moment, which might change through time. So we are so much connecting through the ethers and the crystalline light grid and throughout the planet. And I was asking myself, how is that so many beautiful beings of light are located in these different spots all over the planet, and we feel each other so intensely, even more than perhaps if we were a part of our physical realities, which a lot of us don't have. In our physical reality, we need to belong to a certain geographical region because we've chosen it. As volunteer souls, a lot of us have chosen these sacred spaces to kind of share love with, to be with the presence with, to plant those seeds of the Christed consciousness. And Spirit recently revealed to me that we don't really, those of us who are really evolved souls, we don't need that love to be expressed so physically that most do. We are still humans. We still have the way that humans interact. We are part of this human experience. And we love the nature of love, which is also touch. A look through the eyes, a gaze, a hug, an embrace. But the thing is that we don't need each other to be all in the same space because our love is so vast, it's all encompassing, and it's able to permeate and it's able to travel in light waves to be with each other. There's different theories in physics. Are we a wave or are we particles? String theory versus, different theories. And the thing is, it's not either this and that. That's why so many of theories in this planet are not moving anywhere until they unite, until they unify. Everything is still perceived so much through the notion of polarity and that duality that is derived from it. But our true nature is love. Love is always synthesis. Love knows no polarity in such a way. Love is creating through the law of polarity and triangulation. But love in itself is not dualistic. It's not expressed that way. It's perceived through a lens of unifying perspective. So what recently Spirit revealed to me is that we are both that wave and we are the particle. So the particle part, which perhaps for us is experienced of being here on earth, having these needs, having earthly tendencies for relationships, that's the part. But we're also a wave. And when we achieve that synthesis of the particle and the wave as one, that's when we're really unified. We are not either this and that. We exist as the unity sphere of light, which is the all-encompassing love of all. So those of us who are more advanced souls, we don't need love to be experienced, like we all need to be together in the same space, otherwise we're not really connected. We feel our connections in a greater sense, and we're able to bypass the laws of earthly physics, such as being in these biolocations at this current time. We are not, certain times people will tell me, I felt you with me today or all day, or, sometimes I have people who will work with me or apply to have a session with me, and even before we have that, they will already feel my energy working through them and with them. And that's true partnership that begins that, on this deeper level that most people are perhaps for until now able to feel and embody in their lives. But we're moving there. And today I was driving to this beautiful spot. This song was on, if you know it from Coldplay, it's called Up and Up, and it's such a beautiful uplifting song, and the melody, everything. It's a song that instantly gives you those shivers and goosebumps. And just before I started singing, I felt like this overwhelming feeling of love, and I started crying, and I looked over the snowed-in mountains, and I started saying, could you be even more beautiful than you are? And I felt this, this reverence that I always had for all life and the beauty and how it's expressed. And you being this benevolent force that never wants to harm anything, you just want to continue to appreciate it and honor it and step on this planet with the footprints of love, and this preservation, not for, okay, it needs to stay this way that it is, because it's always going to change. And yet the love within you is the nourishing love that just gives life. That's what I mean when I say being the giver of life in creation. That's the true breath of life. It's not just the physical breath we breathe, but the spirit breath of that reverence. And it's something we can only experience. And you might have those showers of love when you have those overwhelming feelings, when love just washes you over. Recently my mother came to me, and about 3 times she already told me, wow, I had this today, this wave of love. It's undescribable. And I said, yeah, I had this all my life. And now people are slowly starting to feel it more and more. And it's coming perhaps in waves, and it's moving and integrating in our particle self. And this is unifying. From a bigger perspective, that's how I can explain it. The wave and the particle are becoming one. The spirit and matter are unifying with those who are ready to create that unification. Because the moment your consciousness is ready to perceive and be susceptible to both, is in unity. As in creation is not dualistic, it creates these paradoxes. And you have to be evolved to the degree to understand these paradoxes. Like, how can you love someone that's across the planet and you feel such love for them, perhaps sometimes even more than you do in the physical plane? It's not that love would be prone to loving something or someone more. It's just the connection is deeper because there's a greater maturity on both ends. So with that greater soul maturity comes greater openness, that heart-centeredness, which makes possible for that greater intimacy to occur. So you'll feel someone more. It's not you love them more, but you feel them more, because that comes in mutual reception. So as I was driving and listening to that song, I had this overwhelming feeling, oh, we're going to fix this, not fix it like it's wrong, but that we are really doing our work and that it matters, and it's not just being done in vain. Like perhaps some of you always had this feeling, oh, I'm doing it so much and it's always in vain. No one listens, no one cares. No. The external surroundings do not provide for the objective, objectification of what's really real in the moment. You have to go deeper. And when these waves of love and the divine presence wash over us, that's when we have these knowing phases of, oh my gosh, it's happening, it is. And you just know what you know. And the moment I felt this, he started singing in the song, about fixing. And I was like, wow, it's amazing. So it's this synchronicity you're tuned into when you feel with the essence of your cosmic heart. So without further ado, I want to offer all of us this feeling of our family of light getting closer and closer together. Not that we weren't before, but that our aware part, the particle part, is also becoming more aware that we are a part of a bigger wave. That we're not just these tiny little dots on this rotating globe, moving along. We are so much more. We're so much more. So I want to offer you this beautiful, peaceful moment of that silent recognition. And imagine now that we are holding hands. And what is in the middle of us holding our hands is the planet Earth. But it's not just the solid Earth as we know it, as we see it. We'd say, okay, planet is just a pile of rocks. Not really. See that seed, that core, that divine blueprint for the earth itself on a higher level of its evolutionary stage, in your own evolutionary stage. See us holding that same vision, because that's a unified. It's not I see earth this way, you see it that way. I see myself this way, you see yourself that way. And it's not, perhaps sometimes that unity of us holding hands will not always be connected to we have to be all at the same place at the same time, think the same thoughts. Like people who are very empathic, they will often feel the obligation to other people because they're going to feel their feelings coming towards them. They're going to feel it's their responsibility to either be with those people, to share something with them. And if you feel guilt associated with it, that's not really coming from a space of a natural commitment, because it's joyful and it's a part of your divine purpose at this time. It's what makes you self-realized. A lot of the times it comes from the false fear-based perceptions and expectations of other people also. And guilt is a natural indicator that that is perhaps so. So learn to observe yourself, master your energy. What is really your thought? What is your initial seed? Where is you? And how do you relate to a bigger group? And now imagine us holding our hands together. And when I say this is an International Women's Day, I never feel it like it's all about the woman. Just as it's not just all about the men, it's about divine creation. And people have been asking for years, is God male? Is it female? Both and neither. Creation is benevolent. It's genderless. It's formless. And yet it has form, right? Wave and particle. A lot of you are now noticing, perhaps, I've noticed this within myself during these few days and weeks, that I'm not so prone to verbal expression as I used to be. I'm very quiet. I want to more I feel things. I don't always want to give them word and meaning at the same time. Because now we're entering this new wave, a bandwidth of energy that's more expanded than perhaps it was known to us before as humans. And we need to learn to tune into it through beyond these laws and principles and things we've been learning about, even spiritual dogmas and beliefs. Even something you perhaps just last week thought was it. There is no it. Remember, no project, nothing in earth culminates to its final state. It culminates to a certain degree. And then imagine water flowing through that edge. That's when the completion is created. But then it flows. It flows into something else. water, imagine that principle of water. It never runs dry. It's never really away, never stops. Like the energy, sometimes we say, oh, as beings we have days of lower and higher energy. When you look at the nature of truth of energy, even if you understand some of the physics, you all probably went to grade school when we were learning about these things, energy never really goes away. It never truly dissipates. It just changes form. So when you feel, oh, I'm in lower energy mode today, it's not that as a being, as from the holistic perspective, you have less energy. You always have the same amount of energy depending to your frequency. Your frequency denotes how much energy you're able to translate, and then with your creative expansion, the more you move into unified self, the more you're able to create. I've told you this before. When the sovereign self and the source creates, it always generates new energy. What that means is your energy will, according to how much you're able to produce it, be in that level according to your vibrational state. But because perhaps a part of your energy is given too much to someone else, you're feeding it through the cords, you have dependencies, or when you're in an integration process of your body, a lot of it goes for your body and changing your body, and our bodies are in a huge metamorphosis process, and a lot of the energy goes into that, so you have a perception that you have less energy, but you don't really have less energy. It's just a feeling that, where's my energy? And we need to learn to fine tune into those things. We need to become more conscious of our energy work management, because I still see a lot of empathic beings. Sometimes I talk to them, have immense symptoms like headaches and backaches because they absorb so much from other people. And a lot of times we think that's ours, that's our crap, that's something we need to detoxify. Well, perhaps we just need to learn to do our energy management, because we need to become more conscious, expanded beings who we are, with our own personal mastery. So I offer you again the space to consider a little bit about that. All those new things that are coming in will not be able to be perceived intellectually right away. It's going to take time for these new energies that are becoming a part of our own human integration and experience to be able to be perceived with the new expanded consciousness. So we have to allow our bodies to do their own work. And during certain times, we'll feel less prone to do physical work and exercise. Sometimes we will want to. And a lot of times people, when they have these symptoms and their bodies react a certain way, they think, well, this is because it's because of that exercise. That made me feel like that. Well, the exercise just makes your energy move. When the energy moves, and perhaps that which was stagnant before, it opens those locked parts within you that you perhaps before perceived as blockages. Again, nothing in truth is blocked. It's just you're not utilizing its potential, so it's perceived as a blockage. On a higher level, everything is like this. It's always whole. It's always holistic. It's always unified. Remember that. You don't have to work hard for unification. You just have to start understanding a bigger perspective of what it is. Then it's just naturally going to come into you. So with that, you have to learn that that exercise or something, you shifted the energy, made things come to the surface. So these pains are not because of the exercise. These pains are because of what exercise caused, the energy that moved. Now it showed you where you had something that was stagnant, or either energy that's not yours, that you've been piling up for ages even. So it's time to become more loving, more conscious. When we are loved, we don't close our hearts just because perhaps we had a bad experience once. So there's many things that are happening right now, but most of all, I'm feeling that there's new energy coming that, I know, again, it's not really new. It's new from our human perspective, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. All energy, again, it always is, and yet it's expanding. It's hard to understand these paradoxes from our human brain capacity at this time. Our spirit is hyperactive, it's knowledgeable, it's expanded, but our brain isn't always able to filter that. So there's those of you who are more wired in a new way, who have already come here as new children in a more activated DNA, perhaps like I have, or even more. You know, it's not about more or less. It's just about your unique purpose, and it's okay. We don't have to compare ourselves with anyone. We are perfect as we are. We've always been. You know, sometimes people perceive me as having answers and more advanced, whatever. Yeah, it's a perspective from where they're coming from. But in a greater picture, what am I comparing myself to? Who? What can I compare myself to? Nothing. You see, nothing. And just recently I've had this experience, like, even with so much knowledge you can have, you're not identifying yourself with it. That's what it means to be in a new energy. I have this feeling I have vast pool and reserve of everything, and yet I'm nothing. I feel so void. I feel at certain times I'm just out in nature. I don't get anything. I'm just with it. I'm just with the energy. And that's becoming more and more important as a part of our ascension experience. Allow yourself to feel more, to be with the energies instead of trying to put them in certain boxes, because I see a lot of people who say they are guiding you or being ascension guides, but they're always wanting to say these are these energies, that's that, that's that. No, it's still, a lot of it is mental. None of us has the understanding of all. We have bits and pieces. We have the awareness that came here to shift things, yes, to put things in motion, to be part of this new ascension and a new earth and a new human. But we don't have, I'm able to put everything into words. I'm able to, have all the answers. No. That's ego consciousness. Love simply feels things, and love does not need all the knowledge to have a heart open, to hold the space for that love. That's the basis, is always love. So when you have days when you think, oh, I'm less than, I don't know as much as this and that, what do I do? Go back to your humble self that says, but you're already everything. But the part of you that's a particle, that experiences yourself as a particle, is just having this experience. And it's momentarily, it's fleeting. Like you can't catch an atom, right? It's constantly becoming new things and, new shapes and structures. It's everything in the world of chemistry. Divine alchemy is always shifting and changing because of the nature of love itself. So I love you so much. Let's have a moment of silence before finishing this video. I hope you feel my intentions are pure and they go out to your sacred heart. They meet you where you are. And as I'm met where I am, and we are all where we need to be, holding hands in our group consciousness, because that's who we are on a much bigger level. The love of the self, when it equals the love of all, there's no more unity. There's only unity, no more separation. So be it, and so it is. Take care, and I'll leave you with the spot. Should I go? I think so. Lord, give me free